Hello, welcome back to the Happy Maltese Life. My name is Mo, and this is my baby Chanel. And today, hey Chanel, today we're going to be talking about the 10 things you probably didn't know about Maltese, but you should. So if you're interested in learning some facts about this fun, playful, beautiful breed, please continue watching. So whether you have a Maltese now or you're planning or thinking about getting one, there are some pretty interesting things about the breed that you might want to know. And so in this video, I'm going to be sharing some of the fun and interesting facts about the Maltese breed. Before you bring your dog home, some of these tips or some of these insights rather might actually be helpful. So the first one I want to talk about is the fact that they were royalty before it was cool, right? Maltese dogs are original influences, believe it or not. They have been the favored pets of royals over the ages. The breed itself is pretty old. And so what you'll find is going as far back as the Roman Empire. Even Cleopatra was noted as having had a Maltese. One of the interesting stories I remember reading when I was doing research before I got Chanel was that I believe it was Mary, Queen of Scots. When she was imprisoned before she was beheaded, she was allowed to take her dog with her. And her dog, of course, you guessed it, was a Maltese. And on the day of her beheading, her Maltese was hiding under her skirts. And so after she was killed, that Maltese refused to leave her side. And so I think that just speaks to the loyalty of the breed, but I also think it's just very interesting knowing how favored they were by royals, and in some instances they still are, and how they've been around a very long time. So I hope Chanel's that loyal to me, but hopefully I don't want to get beheaded though. So anyway, second fact is that they don't have fur, they have hair. So unlike most dogs, Maltese, they don't have fur. They have hair, which means that they have less dander, they have less shedding, and yep, you guessed it, they need regular haircuts. Chanel needs to get groomed at least every 2 months in order to keep her hair under control. But yeah, they have hair just like ours. So pull out the ponytails, pull out the bows. But yeah, they have hair. The next interesting fact about Maltese is that tear stains are in their DNA. I've talked a lot about how they have maybe smaller eye structures, or they tend to have sometimes clogged up tear ducts, and so it's part of who they are. And so if you have them, if your dog has tear stains, there are some things you can do in order to try to prevent them. I've done quite a few things that I've shared in previous videos that have worked, but it is part of their DNA just simply due to their eye shape and their tear duct structure, and all of those things. So the next fact, which I find very interesting, and probably most of the people in my family would disagree with this, is that they are surprisingly athletic. Even though they're small, and Chanel's not really a jumper, they do have what they call a very strong prey drive. That's PREY drive. Um, Although they have been bred to be companion dogs, they will sometimes, very often, chase things. So if you have a Maltese, you'll see them chase a squirrel. You may see them chase a bird. And they're pretty small, but they're fast. So they may even catch them. And so one of the things I just find very interested in this, like, really small, petite, very like royal aligned dog, is that they're hunters too, right? It's very innate to them. And so I think that's pretty cool. The next is that they can be stubborn, right? And that's part of their DNA too. They are smart for sure, but obedient sometimes. You guys have probably seen this in the grooming videos I've done with Chanel. And you probably also experienced this with your Maltese if you have one. They're very smart dogs. Chanel picked up ringing the bell very quickly to go outside and potty. I never really had to do much with the crate training or with the little pee pads. She was a quick study. But if it's raining outside, she's not going to go unless you kind of prod her or encourage her to. So they can be very stubborn. So yeah, I mean, and that's just part of the breed. One of the things I'd say is that also next, number 6, is that they are very loyal. They're like Velcro dogs. They love their humans. They will follow you from room to room. They will stay by your side. You will probably never be able to go to the restroom without them again. And so they are Velcro dogs. They are very loyal. And that leads to the next one, right? Something you should know and may not know about the Maltese breed is that they don't like being left alone. They bond very quickly and deeply. And so they tend to get separation anxiety if they're left alone for a very long time. So it's best that you have a routine with them, and they kind of know what to expect. And, you know, if you have to, leave them with someone else if you can, because they can really suffer from that separation anxiety. And another thing that I found interesting when I was doing my research before I got Chanel was just how old the breed is. So I gave you some examples earlier around how they've always been aligned with royalty when it comes. I found some things around the Phoenicians being some of the societies that used to trade the Maltese in the Mediterranean area. And, you know, Cleopatra had a Maltese and they were very popular in Rome. The breed is actually over 2,800 years old. You know, over time they've sort of shifted, and some things as far as their coloring has changed. In fact, originally Maltesers weren't all white. There actually were some Malteses that were colored, that had color. And so knowing that they're one of the oldest breeds out there, though, is pretty interesting, right? You know, there are historical records that show that they were almost in every island and land around the Mediterranean Sea. And you will even see some Malteses depicted in hieroglyphics. And so I just think that's so cool. But they really are an old breed. So maybe that's why some of their ways are really, really set. But I would just say, if you're thinking about a Maltese, just know that you're getting an OG, you know? And so I'd also like to say that, you know, I learned that they're hyperallergenic, sort of, right? This kind of goes back to them having hair and not fur. Now, no dog is completely hyperallergenic, but I will tell you one of the reasons that I wanted a Maltese was because they tended to be more hypoallergenic, because I'm actually allergic to dogs. So Chanel doesn't shed much. She does some, but not a lot. And I find that she's really great, especially because I want to cuddle with her. And so I'm not sneezing or breaking out in hives because she does have that hair versus the fur. So there's very limited to no dander. And like I said, no shedding. And so it's important to factor that in if you have allergies or any concerns there. And then the last thing I'd say is that they do have a lot of personality. They can be charmers. They can be grumpy, like very grumpy. They can be watchdogs. I've never seen a dog as small as she is that thinks that she can take on a dog 10 times her size. Like it's just hilarious to watch. But they have very strong personalities. And it's cute because it's all rolled into this really small, white, little fluffy package. But yeah, those are some of the things that you should know about the Maltese that maybe you didn't, but now you should know. And, you know, having a Maltese is such a joy. It can be work, and at times it can feel like a bit of an expense. And so in the future, I will be doing some videos around how much it costs to own a Maltese, some of the challenges in training a Maltese, and also some of the joys, or the many joys rather, in having one to call your own. So I hope this video was very helpful. If it was, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Your support really helps a small channel grow, and it means the world to us. And until we meet again, have a great day. Thanks for watching The Happy Maltese Life. Bye.